What's up, guys? It's your girl, No Dubz, aka Trendy Britt, and welcome back to Debate the Hype. Today on Hype Hems, we have the beautiful Ani Roseborough.
Hey everybody, how are y'all doing?
Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
I'm excited about this.
So am I. I love Debate the Hype. I love the platform. You guys are just doing amazing things. So thank you for inviting me.
Well, I appreciate that. Coming from you, that's a big deal. So I definitely appreciate that.
Thank you.
Is this your first time being on camera, like doing this type of setup, or?
Well, I've done a couple of things, but it's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
So this is, so it's, yeah.
So you know what that means, right? We got to warm you up a little bit.
Yes, you do.
We're going to do a little icebreakers, just warm you up, get you comfortable on the camera.
I like
you ever heard of the term cap?
Yeah, no cap. No cap.
You on point. Okay, good. Yeah, so the word cap, which is like very popular in the Urban Dictionary now, you know, we're always wondering who's capping and who's not capping. So I have a little game. It's called Cap or No Cap.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you questions and I expect you not to cap.
All right, I got it. I can do it.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, right. Tell me, what's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
I give thanks to God.
I like that.
That I just woke up.
That's the first thing you do?
First thing I do, say thank you.
And tell me, breakfast or dinner?
Dinner.
Dinner?
Dinner.
Yeah.
Early dinner, though.
Early dinner. Stop at 6 p.m.?
Yes, ma'am. Stop at 6.
Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
LeBron James.
Really?
Yeah, LeBron.
That's crazy because I feel like that's like a generational thing. Usually people just go with Michael Jordan.
That's true. That is true. But I try to stay real current with everything. And I know that LeBron and Jay-Z do their Kings Day. So
Yeah, you on that wave. I like that.
Yeah.
Sports or art?
Ooh, gosh. Art.
Art?
I like art. I like going to museums. I like basketball games too.
What do you rather, the Guggenheim or the Knicks?
The Knicks. Absolutely, the Knicks.
Biggie or Pac?
Oh, that is not I worked at Bad Boy. Biggie. Yes, Bad Boy for life.
Yeah. What's your sign?
I am a Taurus.
Ooh, strong. Are you an April Taurus or a May Taurus?
I'm a May Taurus. Nice. May the 7th.
May 7th.
Yes,
Ooh,
ma'am.
Yeah. Favorite album of all times?
Favorite album of all times. Wow. Okay, that's a good one.
It
Prince.
Could be from your Prince. Okay.
Prince.
Okay.
Dirty Mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Prince is, we love Prince.
Dirty Mind is my favorite album of all time.
Sneakers or heels?
Heels.
Really? Really?
Heels.
I feel like the world finally made it okay for women not to wear heels. It's okay to wear a sneaker.
It is, but the sneakers add a level of sexiness that I actually like.
You mean the heels?
Yeah, the heels.
Yeah, they add a level of sexiness.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie of all time? That's easy. Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee. That's my favorite.
I never saw it, but I've heard a lot about it.
Yeah, you got to. I know all the lines and everything.
That's too funny.
I love that movie.
Favorite sneaker of all time?
Favorite sneaker of all time? I think Stan Smith's. I love Stan Smith's.
Isn't it a nice silhouette?
It's such a nice shoe. I love it. You can just dress them up, dress them down. You could really, I just love Stan Smith's.
I agree with that.
Beautiful.
Favorite designer?
Favorite designer? Okay. That's a good one. That's a real good one. Marc Jacobs.
I love Marc.
I love Marc Jacobs and his stuff. He's in New York. A lot of his clothes really speak to how we live in the city. So I'm gonna go with Marc Jacobs. I was gonna do somebody French, but I was like, I'm not. I'm gonna just stick to America
Home
right
base.
now.
Yeah, I like Marc Jacobs.
Yeah, I love Marc Jacobs.
Are you a day person or a night person?
I'm a day person.
Yeah, you like to start your day early.
Start my day early. Get up at 6 o'clock. I'm doing work at 6 and doing stuff.
Yeah, you definitely need that discipline. I feel like the morning helps you to be more disciplined for sure.
I agree with you. And they say early bird catches the worm.
Exactly. So, as a matter of fact, Diddy said that you're supposed to do business in New York because the day starts here first. You can't do business in LA because then you're going to wake up too late because everybody in New York already got the money. That's what he told me on TV. I was listening. But he was speaking to me.
He was speaking. Okay. All right.
And last but not least, diamonds or gold?
Oh, diamonds.
Diamonds?
Diamonds, yes.
You're a diamond girl?
Yes, ma'am. Love diamonds.
Well, I feel like that game told me a lot about you. Now I know exactly which way to go with you.
Okay, that sounds good.
That's why I like to play that game. That was so, thank you for that.
Sounds good.
Did you have fun? Was that cool?
I loved it.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of fun.
So tell me, Ani, because I know you've been around for a while. You've been doing your thing in this industry, the music industry specifically, but you've been in like different sectors, which is super cool. And it's a big deal because it's not easy for women of color to transition and wear the hats you've worn. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Where'd you grow up? Tell me about yourself.
All right. Well, my dad was in the Army, so I grew up on Army bases in Germany. We were in Frankfurt, Mannheim, and Baumholder. And ich spreche Deutsch.
So you speak German?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I speak German. We lived there for about 8 years. Then we moved to Oklahoma for a couple of years. Then we moved to South Carolina, and I ended up finishing high school in South Carolina. So I stayed there and went to the University of South Carolina.
Nice.
And then the day I started college, my parents moved back to Germany.
Oh, wow.
Same day. They moved back to Germany.
So you matriculated while they were in Germany? Wow, that must have been difficult or fun.
It was interesting. It was all good because at Christmas I went over to Germany and hung out with them and stuff, which is fun. And I love Germany.
Germany. In terms of like just having that like family structure in college, like what did you do to like, have like, that family and that kinship there, being that your family was so far?
Well, I ended up pledging AKA.
Okay, cool.
And so my line sisters, I was very close to them. And also I was very active in college.
Okay, cool.
It was just important for me to just do as many things as possible. One of the really cool things that I did was I spent the summer in Israel. The State Department did a trip. It was called Educating for Democracy.
Okay.
So they chose about 12 college students from different colleges around the country. And we went to Israel to write a mock constitution because Israel follows the Torah. So they don't have a constitution like we do. So it was a great trip. We met with different prime ministers, presidents.
I heard Israel's gorgeous.
Israel is so beautiful. The people are beautiful. The food is good. It's a beautiful country.
I heard that.
Beautiful country.
That must have been really cool. I didn't get to study abroad, but I do love to travel. So I understand your passion of like being in different places.
Yes.
And so like after college, leaving South Carolina, I know like we discussed, you've been in the game for a minute. So tell me about that. Like, tell me when you started.
Okay.
And like, give me some, brief me.
I will brief you on that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So after college, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. So I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and started working in a law firm as like a law clerk.
Right.
I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to do this. So I got a visa called a Blue Card by BUNAC. It's where they offer you a visa for 6 months to work in various countries. I chose England because I speak English. So
Right.
I moved to England, London. I got a job there at a place called Options of Bond Street. I was marketing and PR person for the company, met loads of people, and London is all about the private clubs. So I started meeting people that were members of these private clubs. So Browns was a big one. So
I like private clubs.
I do too. They're real fly. They're real fly. So I was going to Browns, and at the time, my favorite artist was a guy named George Michael.
Oh, George Michael.
George Michael, my favorite artist. So he would come there. So I started seeing all these celebrities, and I was like, wait a minute. When I moved back to America, I could get a job in the music industry because growing up, I didn't think a business existed around music. I knew music was there, but I didn't realize there was record companies in the business of it. So when I moved back to America, I literally wrote every record company in New York City, every single one. And I called them up, asking.
Did they answer the phone?
Yes, they did.
Because you couldn't call a company right
Not
now.
now,
If you tried.
exactly. You can't now, but they did. And so because I lived in Germany and I had that on my resume, Sony, CBS Records at the time, a man named Julian Shapiro picked up the phone when I called. He had my resume in front of him and he said, oh, we have an assistant position.
Oh, wow.
I was in Columbia, South Carolina at the time. I was like, all right, when's the interview? Say next week. I got on the Greyhound bus, came up to New York, interviewed with them, took the Greyhound bus back, had to come up again for a second time, came up on the Greyhound bus, took the bus back. The third time, my boss was like, okay, you got the job. We're sick of you taking this Greyhound bus. So that was my first job at CBS Records. A few months after being there, it became Sony Music.
Okay.
And I worked in the international department.
Nice.
So that was really cool because Sony has all these territories, all around the world, like all the record companies do. Michael Jackson, his album was coming out at the time, and I remember it was such a scramble, and everything was secret, and the pieces of the album had to be physically taken to Europe to be pressed at the plant. So one of my bosses had to take the reels and stuff and the pieces over to, I think, the Netherlands. I may be wrong with the country, but she had to take them over there in order for them to press up the albums. Okay, so this is back in the day.
That's archaic.
It's archaic, but so just being from that to where we are right now in the music industry is really incredible to me.
And you've got to watch that, like,
I got to watch it evolve. I remember being in meetings when people were talking about the internet and how music, and I was like, that means people are going to have a computer in their home, and wait, why would everybody do that? And you got to pay more money to get, like, it did not. I was not a visionary in that sense, in terms of the technology.
Right.
Was not a visionary.
You didn't have that faith.
I just didn't have that vision, and I'm like, okay, if I did, I would be a gazillionaire right now. I would have invested in Facebook, Google, and stuff.
When you had the chance.
When I had the chance.
So after doing like the whole international division, like all that, and like we talked about Diddy, like where did that come in? Because that's a major.
Right. So, but there's a couple of more record companies in there. So after international at Sony, they moved me to college department. I got a job in the college department, transfer. Did college music. Then they were like, oh, you should go be our urban music marketing rep in Chicago. So I moved to Chicago.
So you lived in a lot of cities.
Yes.
And did they get you apartments each time, or?
No, I had to get my own apartment.
Go do that?
Yeah.
It was easy back then.
Totally easy.
Because I couldn't imagine that now. Now I'm like, the world is so different. Things are so different. I'm always like, if I had to just pick up and leave, I'm like, how would I even do it?
You know what? You can do it. You really can. You call up a real estate agent and tell them how much you want to spend, and somebody's going to drive you around, and which is what they did for me in Chicago. So I did that. But Chicago was super cold, really cold. So one of my old bosses at Sony, a man named John Berger, had gone over to Polygram Records, called me up, asked me to come and be a product manager back in New York. I was like, okay.
Wow.
Came back to New York, became a product manager at Polygram, and then it became Island Records. So at the time, Chris Blackwell was still running Island Records.
Okay.
So he founded Island Records, running it, and Chris Blackwell's history, Bob Marley, U2, Grace Jones, and just so many artists underneath him. So I worked there for about 3.5 years. After I left Island, then I went to RCA Records, where I started working with SWV.
Nice.
As their product manager, was there. And then I went to Bad Boy. So then I get to Puffy. And that was the best experience. Working for him at that time was incredible. I was assigned Faith Evans' album, Keeping the Faith, Total's album, Pam, Kima, and Keisha, and Biggie's second album, and Puffy's album.
That must have been lit.
It was lit.
That must have been a party every day.
It was so much fun. It was really I enjoyed it. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. A lot of hard work though too. Like you're working all the time. Puffy really, when he says won't stop, don't stop.
He means that.
He really means it. Like he works all the time.
Do you feel nostalgia when you hear those songs? Like.
Yeah, I do. I still play them. I love them. I still play them.
Right.
It was just a great time. And, I feel very blessed that I was able to be a part of that.
That was like, what, 95, 96, right?
No, that was like 97, 98, 99.
Yeah, I was like, 7, 8, 9. So,
So you knew the songs. Yeah, all about the Benjamins.
All that. I remember asking what a Benjamin meant. Yeah. I remember to my brother, Gene, what do that mean?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we know what that means now.
So that's really cool because, Diddy, I know he's big with, the culture and just, keeping it in the people and everything. So explain that. How did he make sure that you guys grew within the company? How did he keep you guys, motivated and going?
The one thing about Diddy, was that he was very inclusive. So he was never like, oh, you need to stay in that lane and do that. If you wanted to do something else, you could do it. It was a small company too. So as much work as you wanted to take on, he was about it. He was like, okay, you can do that. Right. He never stopped you. So I would leave working downtown. I would go up to the studio. It was the Daddy's House was the name of the studio. I would go in there and just listen to sessions, just go sit down in the studio and just listen and see how they made the album, see their ideas, see them digging through the crates, trying to get songs to sample. So Puffy just allowed that. And then so many people were in and out of the office as well. Well, When I say office, I mean studio.
Right.
And he was never like, okay, you have to leave because such and such. You could just stay. So I would stay there all the time. Like various people would come up. I remember when Pharrell and them came up, the Neptunes, you know, I remember when they came
Pharrell's
up.
the GOAT.
Pharrell, yes, he is the GOAT. He is. He's so dope.
Yeah.
So dope.
And I feel like being in those like those sessions with artists really help you to understand the artistry. And I think like since I've worked on like the more like back end side of music, I feel like it gives me this like empathy with the artist that helps me to like fight for them harder, because I'm like, I see what it's like there's pressure, you know, and everyone's relying on you to make this one thing so perfect that it turns into something. So being in that, you know, that environment, that atmosphere definitely like keeps me motivated to stay in this industry. So I could see why that, you know, pushed you in a way. I know you mentioned to me about Nell Rodgers, and I know that's a major name. He's one of the big wigs. Everyone doesn't get next to him. And if you get next to him, it probably means you could get next to anyone at that point. So tell me about that.
So after I left Bad Boy, I briefly worked for Nile Rodgers. Now, Nile is he's just, I mean, his repertoire of artists and albums that he produced, we could just start with Chic. Then he did Sister Sledge, Duran Duran, David Bowie, Madonna. Like the stuff this man has done is so incredible, so incredible. So he hired me to come in to help with some marketing things that he was doing. I ended up leaving I didn't stay that long because I ended up moving to Switzerland.
Okay.
And so I was just like, okay, I'm moving to Switzerland. But Niall and I are still real cool.
That's cool.
You know, so I'm gonna make sure he looks at this because Niall is amazing.
Hey,
Niall. So when he did the Daft Punk song with Pharrell, Get Lucky.
Yes.
It was just like, I was just so, the man is a genius. The man is a genius.
Definitely. Like I said, everyone can't get in the room with them, but if you get in the room, it's a pretty big deal. And you mentioned Switzerland, like you've lived everywhere. Like you were telling me something about Hong Kong. I'm like, Hong Kong, what were you doing there?
Yes, I did live in Hong Kong as well. My children's father was working for a hedge fund. So that's a whole different area. It's like finance.
Right. But still relevant.
Yes, it's money. Yes, it is. It's money. It's money. So we moved to Hong Kong. I moved to Switzerland. He was Swiss. I moved to Switzerland. And then we moved to London for a while, and then Cayman Islands. And then we moved to Hong Kong. So while I was there, I was like, I'm going to work in the music industry here. So there was a company called AsiaMix.com. So I was like, all right, found them, called them, got an interview, went in. I was pregnant with my son.
How was that? Were you dealing with like actual Chinese representatives? Did they understand what was going on?
Yes. Well, Hong Kong, remember, it was the British that were controlling Hong Kong for a long time. Okay. So everybody spoke English in the office. Okay. And I think there was one guy who was from America in there. So the funny thing about it is that the guy who owned AsiaMix.com was a guy named James Fong. He was actually a college rep at Sony when I was in the college department. The world is
60
small.
degrees of separation.
The world is small. Like that, how random is that? Yeah. So he ended up hiring me there, a VP of marketing, to go out and get music. But remember, this was 2000. There were no smartphones.
Right. It wasn't Google.
There was not really.
SoundCloud.
No, there was none of that. None of that. And so, I go meet with I met with the different record companies. Chris Blackwell came to Hong Kong at the time as well. He introduced me to the people there at Universal, to the head of Universal there, and told them about what we were doing with AsiaMix. And they were like, this sounds great. Streaming music. Great idea, but a little too early.
Right.
Little too early.
They were like a decade too soon?
Not even a day. I would say maybe, because this is 2000. So when the smartphone started.
Napster came right in like Y2K, which was like the first
right
streaming, and then it was like LimeWire. So AsiaMix must have been like right before that. So
AsiaMix was right before in Hong Kong as well, and it was getting the music. All the record companies were down for it. They were like, sure, we provide. So, but it was just really, really early.
Right.
Really early.
But it exposed you to it. So when you saw it in its full capacity, you were like, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. It makes perfect sense, and it's a smart move.
Right.
It's a real smart move.
Right. And so after being at AsiaMix and being in Hong Kong, I'm sure that since you said it was a little bit too early, I'm sure that withered into something else eventually. I'm sure you transitioned.
Well, when I transitioned, I came back to New York. Moved back to the city. I started my own marketing company called the Rodani Group.
Oh, wow.
And so I started doing different clients.
What kind of marketing were you doing?
Any kind of marketing. If you needed me, I could do it. Major League Baseball. So I did some stuff for Sony Music.
So you were just like consulting?
I was a consultant. Okay. So if people needed me for stuff, people would call me, ask me. And I was like, yeah, so let me just make it into a business. So, and that's what I did. I also ended up consulting with Clarence Smith, who started Essence Magazine.
Fire.
He started a record company called You Entertainment. So he brought me in there to be VP again of marketing. Mm-hmm. So we had an album called the Cafe Soul All Stars. That was like an all-star album of a lot of older R&B artists. It's a dope album, but commercially it did not explode.
Who were the artists? Give me an example.
God, who was on that album? Norman Connors.
I don't even know that.
So Norman, see, that's what I'm saying. I can give you these names. Norman Connors did You Are My Starship from the 70s. Okay, I'm giving my age.
Yeah, exactly what you're talking about.
You Are My Starship. So Norman Connors and a lot of guys from there. I think People Bryson was on it as well. So it was a few of them.
And like, because you talk about that album, and that was like probably like a period of music. When you think of then, right, and then you think of 2020 right now, like explain your feelings on the industry. There's been a lot of changes, like, for the good and for the bad. Tell me how you feel now. Like looking at us, do you say poor them? Or are you like, no, go them? Like,
I do go them because music right now is so fire. There's so much good music out there. Like, I mean, just Meg Thee Stallion is so dope. Da Baby, Lil Baby, Cardi, Drake, Roddy Ricch is the man. And I loved Pop Smoke as well. My daughter and I went to see him in Brooklyn at King's Theater, and he wasn't there that night. And that same week, he passed away. So we were at the concert in Brooklyn. We were all hyped. Shout out to Stacia Mack. She is Polo G's mom.
Oh, Polo G. I know Polo
G. Yeah, that's his mom. She hooked us up with tickets, VIP tickets. Thank you, Stacia. Yes, I birthed Legends is her company.
Dope.
So, yeah, and I met her through a stylist named Charles Reynolds.
Okay.
Yeah, I met her through Charles Reynolds. So she hooked us up, and Nia and I went. We saw everybody else, but Pop Smoke wasn't there, and we were like, okay, well, we'll see him another time. And it just didn't.
I got the pleasure of hanging out with Pop a few times when I worked at Saks. He would come visit me,
Okay.
Shows,
Okay.
And this was like right when he did like the Dior video. And like, I remember walking around the store and there were girls following us around the store. And I thought they were asset protection because I shouldn't be using my discount for people. So I'm like, is this asset protection following us? And he was like, nah, it's girls following us. And I'm like, wait, who are you? Like, I didn't even realize the capacity or the magnitude of who he was. So we were supposed to meet up again for Yams Day, but that didn't happen. He ended up in trouble. So we didn't make it there. And like we had plans on working together and it didn't work out. And like, I'm just like, that situation every day, every hour of every day, I'm like, damn, Pop. Like, I can't even believe it.
Yeah, no, that was, I think the music industry lost an artist who was going to have a long career.
I can't even believe
I know.
Crazy.
It is.
But like, in the new generation, that's the only thing I wish would relax, the violence. Like, I wish we kind of just stopped with the drama. Like, we're so drama driven, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But we're so loaded with social media and everything, so
Yes, there's a lot of triggers. A lot of triggers.
Yes.
So, and also we, for the last few months, we've been kind of cooped up a little bit. So people are looking for outlets.
We're bugging
a little bit, yeah.
You mentioned not wanting or liking to hear the N-word.
Yes.
And you said that's like your core platform. You plan on...
That is definitely one of my core platforms. There are a million words that an artist can use and not use the N-word in a rap song, just period. No other group of people use a racial slur for their people in their music. It's not necessary. You don't need to do it. Your song's going to be fire anyway.
Right.
It's just not a word you need to use.
It's just so easy to just roll off the tongue at this point.
But it shouldn't be because what you're doing is influencing kids, millions and millions of kids around the world. Rap music is the #1 selling genre of music.
Right.
Kids, so it's #1 because kids are buying it. Mm-hmm. It's not just kids in here. It's kids in Switzerland. It's kids in Asia. It's kids in Australia. And so they're thinking, I could say the N-word.
Right.
And you can't. No, you can't. It's a racial slur.
Then you want to slap someone when they say it to you.
Right, right. But they're like, they don't know. And so I think if artists stopped using it, definitely in rap, because there's a lot of other words you can use.
We should create a thesaurus of different words you can use.
Yeah, instead
king, homeboy,
bro,
friend,
done,
bro.
dog, you know.
And I know because, okay, you've transitioned from music and now you're in education and politics, right?
A little bit of, just a teeny bit of politics, because I'm a commissioner for the state of New Jersey on the New Jersey Amistad Commission. So I always like to tell people I have 3 jobs. So teaching, music industry stuff. I manage Kalindo Parker, who plays with Janelle Monáe.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a guitarist for her. He's a guy with
Janelle Monáe is like, I'm scared to even be in a room with her. Her essence is just
amazing.
Way too like angelic for me. I don't even know.
She's so dope.
I'd probably cry if she walked in the room.
She's fire. she's dope. She's so dope. So I've been working with Kalindo for about 4 years now, 4 or 5 years, and he's just an incredible musician, songwriter, plays guitar like crazy, like the best. So I still do that, still teach, and a commissioner on the NJ Amistad Commission. And basically the New Jersey Amistad Commission, we have a law that says Black history has to be infused into the teaching of U.S. history.
So when did that law come into place? Because I was educated in New Jersey, so I just want to know a few things.
It was 2002.
All right, I graduated in 2008, and they were still telling me Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Like,
so
I don't remember hearing much Black history in my high school.
That is interesting, but it was a law from that time. And remember, though, so when something is a law, you want everybody to follow. You should follow the law. But I can guarantee you right now somebody's breaking a law somewhere.
Right. And it works the same way.
It works the same way even with this. So what we do is that we offer a institute for teachers, a summer institute. They can come and learn from different professors. We have a website that has resources for, 10 units from the beginning of time until present day, where there's lesson plans. We have an active Twitter account.
Right. So there's constantly giving resources. And
we
ways
give
for people
resources. We give a lot of resources. And we have an executive director, Dr. Stephanie Harris, who runs the day-to-day. She is dope. She's just fire.
Stephanie Harris, that name sounds familiar.
Dr. Stephanie Harris. She's just incredible.
Okay.
She's just on point, just fly, smart, and just.
And she's a Black woman?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. She runs the office.
Okay.
She's the executive. She's the ED. So I'm a commissioner. So I'm appointed, and I'm the marketing chair. I don't get paid for it.
Right.
It's because I'm a commissioner. That's her job, and she does an amazing job.
Got it.
Amazing
now
job.
Jersey seems to be a big part of your life because we talked about. Tell me about the Hudson T building. Because
God,
that was jokes to me. I was really cracking up at that.
So the Hudson T building. So we moved there in about 2001, 2002. So one year, I think 2001 or 2000, I can't remember. We were thinking of moving out. So I was like, let me go look at some of these other buildings that are coming up. So I go to one building. I see this guy, and I believe his mom. Walking, it's like, we speak, whatever. And it's like, hey, go to I was like, I don't like this apartment. Go to another building. That guy and his mom is at the next apartment building.
You guys are following each other.
Following each other. And so he says, wait, we just saw you. I said, we just, and I was like, where, like, I don't know if I like these apartments. He was like, yeah. And I said, we talked a little bit. I said, so what's your name? He's like, my name is Kanye. I'm like, Kanye? I'm like, okay. I was like, what do you do, Kanye? I'm a rapper. I'm moving to New York because I'm a rapper. Wow. I was like, that's dope. I said, you know what? I'm going to stay in my building, the Hudson T building, because it's lofts. And I'm like, you know what? You're going to like it there too, because it's loft apartments. But I was just looking for a change. But make sure your realtor takes you to the Hudson T. And he was like, okay, you're going to take us in.
And it was Kanye West.
And there was Kanye West. And so Kanye ended up moving into the building. So I would see him around and stuff when he lived in Hoboken. So, hey, Kanye, Hoboken neighbor here.
But fast forward, Kanye 2000 and early 2000. Now we got Kanye 2020 talking about he's running for president.
Yeah.
And what are your feelings? What's your sentiment on that?
Well, because I believe that it's important for somebody when they take that office to have some level of government experience. That is why I think that Kanye maybe one day, like I think he should run for governor or become a senator or congressperson. And then get a little bit of experience under your belt before you take that big office. Hold off on this one. Get some local or state level experience. Wait. because this election is so important that we all vote. Of course, I can't tell you who to vote for, but I am very concerned about what's happening in the country now. It's sad to me what's going on with COVID. It's really, really sad to me that all these people are dying. The mask thing should not even be an issue. It's just safety.
Just do what you
it's not
do.
A political thing at all. It's a public health issue. So right now we need to get somebody in office who has been there before, who knows the landscape, who's able to go in, who has a level of respect internationally.
Right. How do you feel about sexual abuse and like in the industry? Like, do you feel like women have a voice, or do you think that's getting better?
I think it's getting better 100%. I do think that there was a time where men could get away with a lot of things. And so that time is over. That time is over. And a lot of women who were mistreated, sexually abused, are now speaking out, and they have support behind them.
Yeah.
They have a lot of support behind them. So, I just, everything is changing right now. Like what was good 5 years ago or a year ago is not okay today. And, just from different levels, from so many different things, men should respect women as women should respect men. But if a woman says, no, I don't want to be with you, a guy should say, okay, and you find somebody else. There's other people out there.
Right.
There's
no means no.
No really does mean no. And people should just respect that.
And I think a lot of times we get blamed for being sexual or beautiful as to why we're getting treated, scandalously by men. How do you feel about beauty in the industry? Do you feel that like being more attractive or skinnier or lighter or having curly hair, do you think that those things have helped you to get further or help women to get further? Do you think there is like a prejudice between women and who gets further based on how they look?
You know what? I don't think so. And I'm going to say that what I've noticed is that it's attitude. Attitude goes such a long way. And I know girls, all different shades, skinny, bigger, I just know a lot of people. And they've gone very far. And the one thing I can say is that even for me at this stage, I always got along with people. I always had a positive attitude. I got along with people. I showed people respect. And that is why 30 years later, I'm still here. And I'm still able to, call up. People still will help me out with stuff if I need it. I still talk to people. I see them. I get invited to things. So, and it's just attitude. Your attitude determines your aptitude.
Yes.
That is for real. If you have a nasty attitude, you only get so far. Right. You only get so far.
And I agree with that. And that's going to lead me into my last question, which I like to talk about a lot, just with attitude and how you speak. How do you feel about manifestation? Because I feel like a lot of things I've done, I've manifested. I've talked about this since I was like 6. A lot of things, I guess they were like little white lies, but I believed them and I've actually kind of brought them into fruition. How do you feel about manifestation?
Believe it. It works. Whatever you think about, you bring about. Everything that I have wanted in my life has come true. Everything.
Right.
And because I thought about it, I prayed on it, and it came true. Do not ever give up on your dreams. You dream it. You may have people telling you, oh, you can't do that, or you're never going to do that. Don't listen to them. Don't ever listen to people tell you what you cannot do. Right. You do it. And as long as you keep a positive attitude and you stay focused, you're going to get knocked down sometimes, but you get back up. You're going to get knocked down, you get back up. Right. And you just keep on, you keep on moving on, but keep your goals in your mind. Keep your goals up here, and everything that you want in your life will happen, whatever it is, whatever it is.
I love that. I love that mindset, and I share that sentiment. So I love that. And I thank you so much because this interview was so good. You told me so much, and I'm super motivated by this. Thank you very much for coming in and talking to us.
Well, no, thank you for having me. And once again, I think that Debate the Hype is going to be huge. Big, because it's a great concept and I just love it. And thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming.
Really appreciate it.
And this segment of Debate the Hype was sponsored by Charm by Sarah Press on Nails. Make sure you guys check her out. And don't forget to subscribe, follow, and like at Debate the Hype. It's your girl, No Dubz. We're out.